And I have a lot of respect for the religion, unlike these Americans who apparently have no respect for them.
Oh, no respect for the religion. Yet you're actually the one who comes on here and parrots the actual thing that told Dr. Sharif to point out when we had the discussion with Dave on Monday, that points out how it feels like from the outside looking in that there is a problem that the American community has with the Muslim religion. You're the one parroting those things that create that situation.
Yeah. The thing is, I think Dr. Sharif put it out quite nicely that there's a lot of Islamophobia in the United States, and I would agree. But sure, Sasha has his hand up, so let's see what he has to say about
Well,
this.
some things about chess. Chess cannot replace soccer for very simple reasons that chess, until recently, is not a spectator's sport. So that eliminates that possibility once and for all. Number two, it's not up to Seattle which matches to host and which not. It's up to FIFA, the International Chess Federation. And if Seattle would refuse to hold this, Seattle would be eliminated from all matches, and possibly United States itself would be eliminated because one of its member cities refused to hold the scheduled match. So this throws it out of question. And they can prosecute right the day before the match 100 people in Egypt and 200 in Iran. It's not going to affect the match between Egypt and Iran next day.
Okay. I had another question about another topic and everything, but I did want to come back to Dr. Sharif because in Australia today is a day of mourning for teenagers and people that are young because apparently they are being banned from social media and everything like that. So they're already saying it's having a profound effect and everything like along those lines. So, Dr. Sharif, will y'all be implementing a ban like this? Because apparently Britain and the U.S. are also looking at a ban against teenagers and stuff like that in terms of social media. But Australia is apparently the first one, and the teens aren't too happy. But definitely, what is your take on this? Will you be trying to ban them in Bangladesh?
It's almost impossible to ban in Bangladesh. You know, the previous government, they ran away because they ban internet and social media in Bangladesh. That's why all of the young people go against the previous government and they lose the power. So you have to understand how influential it is, the social media. Country like Bangladesh, in India, in Pakistan, or in Malaysia, I see this kind of country. So I believe that social media have some sort of negative impact. Whatever the people do, right, the way they publish, this is one of the things. On the other hand, it has many good things, like we are doing podcast, right? We are publishing in social media and all of the places. So it depends on people. So what school can do, school actually train young people how they utilizing the social media in a positive way. They can develop podcast, they can do intellectual activities, they can go for debate, they can go for online class, they can develop their own community, their circle through the social media. So many positive things in institutions like their family and their school. They can train the young people.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, Steve, we were talking about the ban in Australia, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that. But it's the ban on social media. That's where we were at. But I'm sure you've got other news stories too. But we're talking about the ban.
Oh yeah, not as much today. I mean, my last council meeting was yesterday, so just kind of getting through being now a former elected official. But I will say that what I was going to talk about real quickly was Zelensky's promised to hold wartime elections within 3 months if America and Europe ensure security. He'd like to get socialist stars. Depending on that, China's consumer index rose by 0.7%. Federal Reserve's meeting on Wednesday, so we'll see what happens there. And basically just lots of stuff going on in the world. In terms of social media bans, I think social media, the original intent of social media was for us to connect to our networks, connect with old friends, family, but it's become used now as it's been weaponized. And I think it's been being used for political purposes. And so I also think it's hurting our younger generations because of bullying and things like that. So I think some kinds of limitations of social media are necessary. I know we start infringing on First Amendment rights, but I also think that the media companies, the social media companies, have to be held more accountable. In terms of someone can go on a Twitter account or social media and make a complete story up and report it as news, and people read that and go on it. So, as someone as a public servant, that's what I see and believe. I just miss the days of sitting down with people and talking, having a cup of coffee, going to a Waffle House, in America, right? So anyway, that's my take on that. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
the tough part now, Steve, how do you, especially in the public life, I guess this is something that you can speak on, especially with the rise of AI. Are you ready for that to begin to affect elections with the AI videos that are starting to come?
I think we've been talking about it. We haven't seen it yet. There was a situation a few years ago where someone took a clip of it, and I heard John Chambers talk about the story, who ran Cisco. He's an investor in some kind of a video replication company, and they have a lot of work in voice recognition and everything. And so apparently this happened a few years ago during the last election. Someone in New York took a clip of Biden's voice and basically said, "Don't vote," whatever. And it sounded just like him. And it only takes just a half a second to take that and play it. So I think it's only a matter of time that you'll see the AI weaponized to make up an image of somebody to speak, and it's not them. And then could be used politically against them. You could see what sometimes scares me is national security, where you would have somebody come in there and say, I'm declaring war on the U.S. or I'm doing this, and it's not that person. We've seen this in like the movie War Games, and but I wonder now whether it's something that can happen. So Jacoby, it's something that we need to be aware of, and I think that we need to be careful with limitations and safeguards, and making sure that we have regulations in place to address the unethical use of AI, which is what I think we need to do. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm underdressed today, guys. I'm going to go I got to go join the gym because I've lost all my benefits. I lost my parking passes. I lost this is it. It's like
you got to go become a regular citizen again
for a few months, and if I don't become a commissioner, hey, it's been a great run. But I went out with thunderous applause yesterday, a standing ovation, not a dry eye in the house, and I think it was a good way to go out.
Did they give you flowers like they gave DeeDee Juliana, our city council person here, when she went out and everything like that? But they gave me a really nice proclamation, and it was the nicest thing anyone ever said about me. So I was like, wow, that was really nice. And then, but I'm looking forward to it. And no matter what, and I'm really honest with you, the top three things in my life that I love more than anything is obviously my family. But when I look at my things that happen, media, television, and radio, those are like top things that I love. And so no matter what happens, no one's going to be able to take that away from me. So that makes a lot of sense and everything.
Hopefully it'll help me win the election. So
hopefully. Well, all five of you, all four of you, because I'm the only one that I think that's not. I think you're married, if I remember correctly, Dr. Sharif. But if you're not, you can correct me and everything. But apparently, and I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts around this. Apparently, we're not the best, most monogamous people in the world and everything, because we study everything. And so there's a recent study that came out that said that humans fall behind the deer mouse, which is the deer mouse is the only thing that's 100% monogamous apparently, and the African wild dog is 85%. Humans are only 66%, and the meerkat is 59.9%. So we're between the meerkat and the Eurasian beaver, which is 72.9%. So what is y'all's thoughts around this? Because this came out of the University of Cambridge, which I think think Rick's daughter had spent some time in one of those European schools. It might have been Cambridge and everything like that. But what's your thoughts around this notion of people studying even our sociological things, like whether we are monogamous and successful in being monogamous?
Is
Anybody?
your question about monogamy, or is your question about people doing studies?
It's both the studies that they've done, because like I said, I know even on this show people have teased about, even Nick has teased about what some of these studies cost and everything along those lines. So it was one about the nature of the study, and two, whether we think that the Deer Mouse is more successful than we are.
I mean, studies, in my opinion, are more data, the more understanding, the better. I mean, at one point we thought, that we were the sun rounded the earth. When we found out doing studies in science, that's not the way it works. And then we learned about space. We learned it's science, it's study. You got to learn. You got to continue the quest for knowledge. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. But one thing I just want to add, like when you discuss about learning, when you discuss about creating knowledge, creating wisdom, as an expert, I just want to add these things, like people actually learn by doing. Whatever we read, whatever we get the data from all of the places, we can learn by doing our work. So the more we do practical projects, it can be social science, it can be business, it can be any field. Even in AI developments, students or youth community, they can learn more. Secondly, travel, like how I grow. I can remember I was in Cambridge universities, in Cambridge Union 2012 and 2013, these 2 years. It's changed me a lot. It's changed my mindset. It's changed my cultural understanding and everything. So that's why I always encourage people, travel different country, engage with different country, engage with different communities and different culture. It's actually changed the mindset in terms of culture, religion, everything. So if student and the youth community, whatever the department they're from law, they're from computer engineering, they are from medical science, if they do practically, they can remember and they can contribute more, and definitely travel and engage with different community. And that's why I love Pot TV so much, because cultural engagement and understanding different
Guys, I
mindsets.
gotta go. Thank you.
Hey, we'll see you soon. Okay. Well, that's what I really like about universities. Oh, my voice didn't go bad. Okay, here we have some very serious problems, Sharif, in the United States and around the world. We have problems with our national debt. We have problems with our Social Security. We have problems with our healthcare system. Serious problems with our wealth being aggregated to the 1%. And so you got a bunch of clowns who are studying monogamy about where people fit in between mirror rats and other ridiculous things. I hope no government entity, certainly not in the United States, funded this study, because it's a waste of money. It
was a London study, so it wasn't funded by the U.S.
Well, that's what I figured. But I will tell you one thing. That will be one study I do not have the time, nor anybody else should have the time, effort, energy to read, because you're wasting your time. You only have a certain amount of time on this planet, and please don't spend your time and energy wasting your time with some of the nefarious things that are out there like that. I mean, it's worse than chess, if that's possible. So that's where it's at. I think real estate. I've got some good real estate investment.
Nick, I got a question.
Read. What is it, Jacoby?
I got a question.
Sure.
Do children thrive better in single or two-parent homes?
I believe they have studies on that, and they do say it's in two-parent homes.
So would finding out if individuals are more monogamous, wouldn't that fit right into finding out about the health of a child in a two-parent home? Because if two people are monogamous, they're staying together the whole time and not getting divorced, correct?
Well, that's not necessarily true. We don't know.
We don't
know,
because we need the information.
nor in the realm of things that people should be studying. This is not one of them.
Should
And this
we?
is a problem I have. Like, I interviewed a
Hold on.
student the other day for a job.
Are you okay with the studies about?
Studies classes? Because if you took gender studies class, you don't belong in this position.
Nick,
You need to
are
go
you
from
okay with the
someone else.
studies? Are you okay with the studies
You know,
finding
they
out?
belong- yeah, but
Nick,
do it on your
I'm
own
asking you a
time,
question.
dude.
Are you okay with the studies finding out if children thrive better under two-parent or single-parent homes?
On your own time, buddy, not mine.
No, so you're saying that that's a worthless
No,
study?
I don't think that's a discussion that people should be having. I think the
So that's
discussion.
not a discussion that we should have.
I mean, there's some good. I have some really good books that people should be reading.
Nick,
You know,
I'm asking you
But,
about
but
that
not
study.
this
Nick,
is
you're
a-
rambling right now. You're rambling.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
asking
just
you about a specific study. Do
Yeah.
you think that it's a waste of time that they
Yeah.
studied that
Yeah.
children
On your
thrive
own
better under
time.
two-parent homes than under single-parent homes?
Do
You
it on
think
your own
that's a
time.
worthless study?
Do it on your own time.
So that's a worthless study. So
It's a
the only study-
worthless study to get ahead in life. Yes, sir.
what
You
study
will
do
not. You will not
consider-
do better in life because you know that.
What
It's take
studies-
gender studies. Take all your gender studies books. If you haven't, you
That's
took
not a gender study.
Find
That's
find
not a
a.
gender study.
Well, take all your social studies. I don't care.
So what
All your
study?
social studies book. Find the nearest trash can and
What
deposit them.
study?
They'll have the highest
What
investment.
study do you approve of?
Okay, I approve of the ones I just said. In other words, dealing with medicine for sure, certainly. As a matter of fact, we have a medicine show on the Pod TV network, and you'll notice most television programs do not. Every now and then they'll have the doctor's program. I could see one, but very little people study medicine. It's like we're going to ignore it. Yeah, that's your health, buddy. That's about 17% of the GDP in the United States. That is a worthy study. So if you said, "Hey, I'm studying medicine," I would say you're studying something that's going to be very important to your life. Hey, I'm studying whether people are screwing better than meerkats. I think you could talk to
That's
Rick
not
Ross.
what the study was.
Or whatever it is. It's
But
kind of
So you're saying medicine is one that you
medicine is highly up there. Yeah, I would
What
say.
part of medicine are you talking about? Stress relief
Like what we discussed
medication as well?
in Medicine and Science of the Pod TV network.
Are you talking about
Internal
stress relief
medicine,
medications?
infectious diseases, some other things like
What about high
grand
blood
mal seizures. There's a lot of stuff in medicine.
What about high blood pressure?
high blood pressure? Yeah, that's
What about psychological medications?
that's important too. You're talking
Stress
the right.
medications.
What medicine?
Stress medications.
Stress, yes, that's important too. You're doing all good.
So in other words, you're okay with studying about the monogamy because, again, all those things dealing with stress, high blood pressure, psychological effects, those all deal with that. That's all medicine too. So again, what you're talking about, I'm questioning your chess play now because you didn't know.
You shan't question it. The people that do are in deep trouble.
What I'm saying to you is everything Mark said about that study is fine based on your analogy or based on your logic, because the monogamy issue and dealing with single parent and two parent homes, that all goes into medications that people end up taking because they have trauma.
They're trying to compare it with the animals. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
I just want to discuss in that way as I'm academician. In one way, I actually want to support Nick. Reality is that if you see my culture right now, what is happening in Bangladesh, we have 57% youth. What they have, they do not have enough job, they do not have enough opportunities. So what we have to do, we have to create an opportunity for them. So if we go for some sort of education, honestly speaking, even many of the educations we are observing, it's in public university in Bangladesh. Let's say in Dhaka universities, they have different, let's say Sanskrit. It's actually language learning and everything. But still, many of my friends, 2, 3 friends, they study Sanskrit, and right now still they're unemployed. They're 40 years old. They're unemployed. So that is the things I think Nick try to introduce, which is very important even for emerging economy like Bangladesh, like India, like China, and all of the things. Their students need to go. Why they go for learning or getting degrees? They need jobs, or they need high quality of life, or they need entrepreneurial journey and everything. So in some point, creating employment is our main objective. So this subject matter is very important, and I want to introduce more vocational education for our students, because through this process, even in the AI revolution area, if student can do all of the vocational study, they can get more jobs, because AI doing all of the white collar jobs maybe in 3 to 5 years, 80% job they will do. So I think this is high time we have to restructure our education. That's why we are continuing the CEO development program. I want to welcome you all in our programs. Share your expertise, join as a mentor, and explore your business relationship and different cultural relationship, and go for collaborations with different countries. That is the things I can propose in a practical way.
Yeah,
And I think what you're proposing, Doc, is correct. And I understand the support that you're throwing behind Nick on that portion. I think in this discussion, however, it became pigeonholed to just one thing, which we have to realize that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can have studies on social sciences as well as having studies on biological things as well. I mean, chemistry and study. So the idea that we can only do one thing, and that's the only thing that we can do, because there are jobs in every field that can be filled, from technology, AI, and that whole world that's blossoming, but also real estate, financial literacy. That idea is there too. Not everybody wants to go. Not everybody likes math. So not everybody's going into financial literacy. Not everybody really wants to be an author. Not everybody wants to be a musician, but we need all these things to have a flourishing society. But once we start, so when we start demonizing and saying, well, it only should be, that's when we run into those problems where we have issues, where we begin to forget about innovation. There's still innovative things that are happening in the music industry, but that's the industry that Mark is talking about, that Nick keeps saying, hey, we don't need. No, there's jobs.
There's definitely innovations. I did have a question for Nick along those same lines and everything. Nick, because I think I've heard you say before, you're not a fan of this particular field, but it does tie to medicine, and it even ties with the history. So are you thinking that an anthropologist is a job that people should not be studying and everything along those lines? Because an anthropologist is a job that reflects on our past history, and some of that past history we can learn from and everything. So
absolutely, Mark. When your net worth exceeds 10 million, then go ahead and study it. Okay, but if you need a job, I would suggest, and by the way, over in Bangladesh, if you want to really move that country along, Dr. Sharif, they should study pharmacology and medical sciences. And today, it's not like it used to be. You can get a lot of the information on the internet. In other words, a lot of good information. And there is a lot of money, at least in the United States, in the medical sciences. Like I said, it's 16-17% of our entire GDP is in the medical sciences. So if you want to move, if you want Bangladesh to go ahead, and a lot of it's going to be telemedicine and research and pharmacology sciences. Now, let's say if you said a kid wants to be like Mark,
I got to ask you. One of the other things I was going to bring up is income inequality, and that is studied by folks that are also studied by other people as well. So definitely South Africa right now has the highest level of income inequality in the world, and we've got like that 0.0001% that own pretty much half of the world and everything like that. So we should be studying that, is what I'm hearing
Nick,
you say.
Nick, I want to collaborate with Pod TV, because next year, December, we are organizing a conference on healthcare, longevity research and healthcare.
Yeah.
So definitely, we will bring a lot of young peoples and scholars and healthcare industry peoples and doctor and nurse. And beside that, I want to invite you all in our conference. It will be online, and Pot TV can promote it.
Oh yeah, we should get Dr. Patmos on because he does our medical and science show.
Yes.
We can also air it.
This is very interesting. Even let's say if I work just work 1 hour from my homes, from my place, I think I get around 20 hospitals. So it's very easy to collaborate with the hospitals and everything. This is very interesting. This is very
it's a big, like I said, in the United States, it's a big part of our GDP. 17% of our GDP is in that area. Now,
and we have a show in that area as well, Nick, because actually Grant McGaw, half of his shows are actually medical shows.
Yeah, Grant does a lot of medical shows. I mean, the thing is, you're talking a very large, you're talking a large business, large opportunity for people in Bangladesh. There's a lot of telemedicine that's going on right now, Dr. Sharif. And so, you're moving, what I would say, moving the right direction. Now, if you said, hey, I got a group of people and they all want to be anthropologists in Bangladesh, I'd say, good luck. I mean, do we need maybe one?
I want to focus on healthcare. This is very interesting.
Good luck. Enjoy your poverty.
I think what we're all missing, and this is where the problem comes into play, is because when you talk about anthropology and talk about histories, and these are things that you shouldn't study, honestly, we should look at our history, because one thing that we are losing at this moment, which is why, as an analogy, say you have a birthday party. One of the cool things that you have at a birthday party, those balloons, right? Have all these balloons at your birthday party. But what happens if you run out of air? If you run out of air for those balloons, you can't have balloons, right? So what we're doing right now is we're forgetting the most, but the most important institution, because we have eroded the fabric of what made the U.S. great. And China came in and learned from our history and actually bolstered their fabric. And what they are going to do is they are leading in a lot. They are catching us quickly and going to start and actually leading in a few areas. And they are going to start leading because we have forgotten it. And Dr. Sharif, this is the recommendation that I would give: education. In the U.S., we've lost a lot of teachers. We're having a teacher shortage all across the U.S. But what does our culture tell us? The same thing that Nick is telling us. We have to look at what is financial, what is going to make us money. Teachers don't make money in the U.S. However, what we invested in our golden age was teachers and education and actually bringing individuals up, which forced people into sciences and actually gave us the things from Kevlar, NASA going everywhere, the deep sea missions, everything that we use today, the internet, and so on and so forth. That was a huge investment opportunity in education, which led to all these things that actually we're utilizing today. And we're forgetting about it now because we've got AI. We're not trying to fix our coding situation, because when AI takes over and everybody, just like Nick, you said, the internet gives us great information. What you're looking at is AI and grabbing that information off of there. You're not actually looking at the whole, all the works. You're actually taking the cliff notes and running with that. And that's what we're starting to do. And we're starting to utilize that in classwork, in medicines, and so on and so forth. So we're losing that actual education part of it. We're as Rick likes to point out when he's here, we're becoming dumber because we're so heavily reliant on particular technologies. So my suggestion is invest heavily into the groundwork where the education is. Build up in the healthcare industry. We have a nursing shortage. Why? We still have an education shortage. So we don't have the teachers to teach the nurses, and we don't have the nurses to come back because we are actually, of course, the Trump administration is now calling them non-professionals, which is dumb. They are professionals and they should be paid like professionals. Same thing with teachers. They are professionals. They should be paid that way. But no, the Trump administration is going backwards on that. So that's eroding the fabric. So my suggestion, investment in education, build up that network where you have those individuals that are, a business. As Jay-Z says, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. Let's make those individuals businesses. Make them learn and become educated in the healthcare field. Have tons of nurses and tons of teachers to teach them in Bangladesh. And that will spur that medical field on faster than, hey, we're just going to hire some people, because that education is going to go out the door anyway when they move and find somewhere else that's more lucrative.
Okay, my friendly amendment, which probably isn't too friendly to what Jacoby said, is education, but I think the right education is important, because you can learn a lot of stuff out there, Dr. Sharif, and just ain't going to make a difference. In other words, there's a lot of stuff out there you can study. I love art. Half those books back there are art books, okay? But I'm telling you, if you're looking for a job in that industry, forget it. I mean, it's like few and far between. It's just, it ain't gonna happen. I used to have a lot of chess books, but let me tell you something. You're looking for a job in that industry, good luck. Unless you're in the top 20 or 30 in the world, forget it. It's not happening. So just because you like something, I enjoy it, it's wonderful, doesn't mean that it's going to get you a job and where you're going to make money. However, healthcare is the big industry. Number two, it looks in the United States, is the real estate industry. They don't teach this in the U.S. because the U.S. is a dummy down country. You can teach it in Bangladesh because you guys are young and hungry to learn things. And the real estate industry is big. It's about 4.5 trillion in the U.S. and health industry is a little bigger. It's about 4.9 trillion. You're talking about big industries. So what you want to do, Dr. Sharif, is not just educate, but the right education. We could send Sasha over and we could teach him all to play chess, and India's really good. But hey, look, it's going to be like 10 of them out of 400 million people that play over there. They're going to make money at it. The rest of them are all going to be broke. In real estate and in healthcare, almost all of them will be able to make money in those two industries. So
what is the largest, what is the number one, weight loss pill that's going around right now? Ozempic?
I think so.
So when you're talking about the quote unquote right education, we don't truthfully know what that is. We know how to teach and be able to speak to individuals, but we cannot just toss out and say, this is the only way. Because if we did, this is the only way, Ozempic would not be here.
Well, Ozempic, I think people looked at the problem that existed. Yeah, and that's just one problem. By the way, if that
Nick, where did Ozempic come from?
I have no idea. I'm not a pharmaceutical expert, so you tell me, Jacoby.
Mark, where did Ozempic come from?
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't remember, to be perfect.
Lizard spit.
It came from where?
Lizard spit.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. By the way, that's a great example, Jacoby.
No, it's a great
If they
example.
do research over in Bangladesh and they come up with a drug like that,
No,
it's a
but
home
Nick,
run for all their people. What's
Nick,
wrong with that?
what I'm saying
The
is,
thing is, point them in
what
the
I'm
right
trying-
direction and they shall
what I'm
live.
trying to express to you is that based on your logic, you would
Mhm.
never get Ozempic. What I'm trying to tell you is we have to be able to allow for people to begin to think and experiment and not just focus on, we have to drink whatever's in this cup or do whatever in this cup, because if I do anything outside of that cup, it's never gonna. No, we can't do that.
But you have to point them in
Ideas
the right
and brilliance and these shots in the dark. Nvidia became big from Bitcoin. That's how they became big. Nvidia was one of the biggest chip makers, but it was having problems with AMD. AMD was making a video card as well. But once Bitcoin took off, you know what they found out is the chip that Nvidia was utilizing was the one that actually was working the best. That's Nvidia.
Sasha, you have a
I'd like to about education, just a couple of words. In my younger years, I was educator, and what I've found is that people want immediate results. It's concerning children, it's concerning parents, probably grandparents just as well. And to fulfill that, if you're going to learn real estate or we want to talk about investments or so on, there are no immediate results. It takes years and right opportunities to be able to use some of your knowledge in either of these two. Same thing applies to chess. Why many video games are much more popular than chess? Because chess takes years to understand the strategy, to understand how the pieces are correlating with each other, what's the right spots for your pieces, and so on. It takes years and years. And in video games, if you have any aptitude, sometimes 10 minutes would be well enough to get you on certain level, not on very high level, but on certain level. And from then you can excel, provided that you will practice regularly and you have desire to excel in this particular video games. That's how it works. So therefore, education, in my opinion, it's very misunderstood item. You can go and say education is good, and if you're not educated, it's bad. Okay, you can go that far. Okay, you get some mileage out of it, but nothing in practical terms. It means nothing. It means the most important thing is to find in young people what are they really interested and put their efforts into that particular area. And forget about, for a time being, maybe later on to work, some literature or music or any other things. Maybe that will come later. Maybe not. But at least if they're practicing and learning something what they're interested, there will be results. So this is what the most important thing in education, to find out the aptitude of the students, what they're really interested, and help them to excel in that particular area. And then later on, the all-round education may or may not happen. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. And we're going to wrap it up and everything. I was just going to say, just in closing and everything, and I don't know that Jacoby will agree with me or even Nick or Dr. Sharif, but if I was to take my friends that have gone into real estate, and I have a number of friends that have gone into real estate and tried to make real estate a career, it is not as easy as Nick was trying to make it out to be and everything like that, because I know quite a few folks that have failed, and I also know quite a few folks that have succeeded in their art world. So I'm not saying that art is easier than real estate, but they both have their drawbacks and their things that are difficult. But anybody that has tried to take those real estate tests know that they are not easy and all along those lines. So there are a number of people that have not had as much success as Nick is trying to make it seem like it would be, and everything along those lines.
Mark, and finally, I would like to emphasize, finish about education. I would like to mention with what I'd like to talk later on an investment show about AI and its effect on the jobs. I think the most insulated jobs, it's a personal touch jobs like massage, like electrotherapy, like all these health-related professions. That will be the last one to succumb to artificial intelligence. So that where the jobs, or at least some security with these jobs, would appear to me in the next few years. After that, nobody knows what's going to happen. We'll discuss it later on today.
Sounds good. So we'll have that show coming up at 1:00. I know you'll be joined by Jim Eid. I'll join you as well, and maybe Nick will join us on that show. And I guess Jacoby and Sharif, if y'all want to join it, I don't want to speak for Sasha, but I think Sasha would be okay with y'all joining.
Yeah, of course. I've sent the link here, so you can join. I'll be very pleased. Okay.
Sounds good. Get ready to get on out of here.
Bye-bye.
Hey.